So we are going to run a demo of this code to see how it works. So if you want a detailed understanding of how the entire code works, you can go through the readme file. It contains an extensive discussion of how the entire code structure works, but I will just go through the demo to show you how the core parts of the code works. So the main logic is held in the main.py files, so it has all the logic for the ingestion, eligibility for resubmission, and the entire code is encapsulated in a class called claims processor, which does all of the logic required. So for you to run the main file, you need there's one compulsory argument, which is the directory where we are going to get the EMR files, and we also have other optional arguments such as the output, where we are going to put the resubmission candidates, the report where we are going to put the processing report, which contains all the processing details, alongside the metrics, the errors where we are going to put the rejected claims, and rejected where we are going to put the rejected claims details. For errors, just it's the error log file part. So now let's run the main.py, and now we provide the directory. So the directory I'm going to provide is called EMR files. So this is EMR files. It has 4 files. It has a CSV file and as a JSON file. So the CSV and the JSON files were taken from the document, the document which we are using to get the task details. So it is a copy of this exact data, the CSV and the JSON. And then the EMR alpha is just there to test the robustness of the code, like if it sees a file which does it exit gracefully, or what happens. Same for the SQL file. So let's provide the EMR files directory. So after I provide the EMR files, here this is what we get. So we get some logins. It tells us that the EMR alpha file and the EMR alpha SQL are supported because one has an extension which is supported and the other does not have an extension at all. So this is a test that the code is able to handle unknown files or supported file types gracefully. And then among the ones which actually worked, we have 9 claims. 4 of those claims were eligible for resubmission, and 5 of those claims were not eligible for resubmission. So here it tells us where to find more details about the candidates who were eligible for resubmission, and where we can see the rejected candidates, and where the error logs are in the processing reports. So let's start with the processing report. The processing report tells us the exact timestamp at which the code was run, tells us the time which is set as the current date. So according to the document, we're supposed to set the current date as 30 July 2025. We also set some configs such as the submission window. So we have set 7 days as the resubmission window required before a claim can be reconsidered for submission. And then we also have an LLM model, which is used for providing recommended changes to claims which are going to be resubmitted, but then it's optional, and it is used as a fallback for when the hard-coded recommendations for the non-retriable reasons do not work. So for the metrics, we can see the same metrics that we saw here. The total claims are 9. The claims which are eligible for submissions are 4. The source count, so we have 5 claims from alpha sources. Alpha sources are CSV files, and 4 claims from beta sources, which are JSON files. So among the 5 rejected claims, 2 were rejected because the patient ID were now, 2 were rejected because the status was already approved, so there's no need for them to be resubmitted, and 1 was rejected for resubmission because it was denied for a non-retriable reason. So the rejected claims JSON now has the individual claims of the people who were rejected. This is where we see the individual details. So we can see, like, maybe B9990, why was he rejected? He had a missing patient ID. If we go to B989, why was he rejected? His claim status is already approved. There's no need for us to resubmit when he's already approved. So here it gives you the details about each of the individual cases which were rejected. Here, this is the error log file, which tells us the errors which the processor encountered. So it came across some two files which are not supported, because we only support CSV and JSON files. And then the resubmission candidates now contains the successfully the claims which are successfully considered for, which we can successfully consider for resubmission. So we have 4 cases which were able to make it. We have their claim IDs, and then we have the resubmission reason, prior auth required, and then like what are the recommended changes. So go and obtain prior authorization and resubmit. So like for each of these resubmission reason, we have some recommended changes which can be offered to these people so that they know what they need to change. So this is for the CLI. So I just forget to mention, if you want to run this code locally, you can just install these requirements, and then you will be able to run everything locally. This is all mentioned in the readme.md if you want to know how to run them. So aside from that, we also have an API. This is the first API endpoint. So let's run this API endpoint. So we are using UVI, but let's start by activating. Yes, so UV con API reload. So we are now starting the reloader in the application, and then we can see that the app is running on what? On HTTP port 800. So now we have some files. We have the upload file. So once you upload a file, you are given the eligible claims here. Then you can also check for the rejected claims, and you can also check for the metrics. So let's try to give this URL some files. So kill. So if we give it some of this file, like the EMR alpha.csv, which we saw in our EMR file directory, this is, okay, so I made an error. It's going to redirect us since I put this trailing upload. You're just supposed to remove the trailing upload. So here you can see that we received the 3 cases from the alpha sources which are eligible for what? Which are eligible for resubmission. And if you also get we can also get the the metrics. Like from the alpha sources, we have 5 total claims, only 3 are eligible for resubmission, and then like all the sources are from the alpha. And the exclusion reason is that one of the claim has a now patient ID and the status approved. We also have one which is already approved, so we can consider it for resubmission. So if you also want to look at the rejected ones, you can also see them here. You see that we have we have 2 cases of rejected. So we can also submit the other one. You see, let's submit the beta.json. Beta JSON. So if we submit that one, we see that we only have 1 claim, which is eligible for resubmission. We can now check the metrics. So you see the metrics, they are now compounding. The total claims were 5, but now since we have added the 4 cases from the beta, we now have 9 total claims. The submission candidates are now from 3 to 4, including this one from the beta. And we can also check the ones which are rejected in total. We can see all the rejected cases and why they are rejected. So yeah, I think the API is better if you are just handling it maybe from a web UI to better see the visualization. So I think with that in mind, we also created a prefect flow to show the orchestration of the data. So I think this creates a good UI to be able to show you what's going on with the data orchestration. So let's try to run the prefect flow. Okay, so I think the issue here is that I'm not in my VNV py prefect.py. prefect flow.py. Okay, so here okay, so it's running, so it's creating a temporary server on this link. I think if we can open this link and see what's going on. Yeah, okay, so you can open it here, and okay, so this is okay, so this one is still running. So okay, let's check the output from here. Okay, so yeah, it ran. So it started claim resubmission pipeline. It processed the file. I gave it the EMRL for the CSV file. It was hard coded. Yeah, so everything actually went well. It finished instead, completed. Just that when it was stopping, it had an async exception, but we can see that everything was able to finish instead, completed. Let me rerun it maybe so that we can see how it went. Prefect.flow. Okay, let's run the prefect. Okay, running. Oh yeah, it's okay. So I think let's start the server. I think we'll be able to see from the UI how our task flow is able to go. So if we now go to the, yeah, we can check out the dashboard here. So here, yeah, you can see that we have our task ran, 5 were run, 2 are running, and 3 are completed. You see, we currently have 0 failed or crashed runs, so all the runs actually went well. That's what I was saying. So you see, like this one, Brainy Cat, you see this is our recent run is called Brainy Cat. You can see that it completed well. So here we just see it can show you all the entire steps, the orchestration. We start by extracting the claims. After we extract the claim, we filter out the eligible claims. After we filter out the eligible claim, we now load the results. So that's the good thing about Prefect. It allows you to visualize every pipeline, where the flow begin, how the claim submission pipeline began, the processing of the files. So it basically allows you, to be able to see everything working well. Yeah, so this area is just about the closing out, which is something it's a Prefect issue. It's not an issue in our code. The code is working well, and everything is going well, as we saw from the Prefect dashboard. Yes, so thank you for watching the video. This is the demo of how everything works.